Accidents, death, and other mishaps can turn your life upside down. What if you get a second chance? How many of you know that your favorite soccer players just missed the Grim Reaper around the corner? Yeah, you have every right to be surprised. Two of the greatest players of our era, you already know them, were so close to meeting their demise. We might have missed what we witnessed in the last decade. If you don't know about this, don't call yourself a soccer fan, boy. Cristiano Ronaldo. Every soccer player has a special spot in their heart for a sports car. Driving a sports car at 150 miles per hour is thrilling, not just for players, but for people like us too. But these sports cars are vulnerable and can lead to a major demise in the blink of an eye. This led to our first player, or in other words, GOAT, Cristiano Ronaldo, famously known as CR7. Ronaldo has an undeniable love for sports cars. Just 3 days after buying his dream car, an accident changed his life forever. On January 8, 2009, it was an odd morning for Ronaldo because his coach had called an early practice because Manchester had just suffered a devastating loss. Thus, Ronaldo's teammates expected him to be there, but he was nowhere to be found. Ronaldo overslept, but when he did wake up, he noticed all the notifications and leaped out of bed right away. We all know that Ronaldo takes his game seriously, so missing practice was unacceptable. However, even though he only had 20 minutes to travel across the city, he was determined not to let anyone down. He knew he had one car in his garage that could handle the drive, but little did he know, it would turn out to be the worst decision of his life. Ronaldo was barely beginning to establish himself when he called out a completely wrecked Ferrari. It was a miracle that Ronaldo was able to escape the incident unharmed. However, from that point forward, he made it his life's goal to devote everything to soccer and become the greatest player to ever step foot on a soccer pitch. Lionel Messi. The next player on our list is the one who always defies the odds against him. Yes, his name is Lionel Messi. But this time he went beyond the line, and that nearly cost him his life. In 2017, Messi faced one of the most important games of his career when Barcelona and Juventus met in the Champions League. Juventus had won the first leg 3-0, making it a crucial match for Messi. Messi was determined to have his best performance ever and ran onto the pitch ready for anything. Both teams made an effort throughout the first half in a frantic way. To put it another way, their reputations were on the line, and the winner advanced to the semifinals. Thus, they engaged in a bloody, sweaty, and tearful struggle in which neither team managed to score a single point. Then, as the half was coming to an end, Messi made one final heroic play, but it almost cost him everything. On that day, Messi could have lost more than just a game. Doctors concluded that his neck injury would have killed him if he had fallen just 2 millimeters higher. Messi was a really lucky man to tackle the Grim Reaper, despite Barcelona losing the game. Matheus Silva. The next man on our list is Matheus Silva, who nearly lost his life during a vacation. Yeah, a vacation. Who doesn't love a vacation? But for Matheus Silva, it would be a dreadful experience that he would never forget throughout his life. Silva and his teammates were excited for the 4th of July, so they decided to take a trip to Lake Tahoe for the day. Despite knowing that the beach would be packed, they wanted to enjoy some time there before returning for their game later that day. So they decided to go there extra early, around 6 a.m. But little did they know that things were about to go insane. Silva was overwhelmed with joy when he arrived at the beach, and without hesitation jumped into the lake. It was a beautiful, spontaneous moment. I'm talking about the way the sunlight was just reflecting off the sea. The boys were watching Silva, who was kind of resembling Michael Phelps, swim all the way out to the buoys, when suddenly he started screaming for help. The boys initially thought he was just trolling until he went underwater, at which point their hearts sank. They hurried to the lake and dove in after him, but by the time they got to Silva, it was too late. He had no pulse. Fortunately, a lifeguard raced to their aid and started doing CPR, but it didn't work. So their only option on the table was to dial 911. 2 days later, Silva awoke, but he was dizzy and confused and it was discovered that he was in a coma. He didn't know the lake was cold when he dove in since he was too delighted to notice. As a result, his body went into shock, which stopped his heart. He's really lucky that his friends were there because they actually saved his life. In fact, after it was determined that Silva would recover, teammate wondolowski honored him by playing in their following game while wearing the number 38 and even scoring a goal in his honor that same night. Neymar Jr. Accidents in childhood are more gruesome, as they can ruin your whole life. Neymar had a close encounter with death in his childhood that scarred him for life. Neymar was only 4 months old at the time, and his parents were traveling to see some relatives when things started to go wrong. A severe storm caused a car accident that injured every member of a family while traveling in Brazil. See, the car was hit so hard that Neymar actually vanished, and his family had no idea where he went. His father looked everywhere, inside the car, on the street, outside the car, in the bushes, but they couldn't locate him. They didn't know what to do until they heard crying. It was Neymar. He was entrapped. When his father looked beneath the driver's seat, he discovered him covered in blood. Neymar's head had been cut from a shard of glass, leaving the family with no choice but to hurry him to the hospital. Neymar confronted death, and he wasn't even old enough to grasp words or even know what was going on. So when Neymar's father found out he was gonna be okay, all he could do was thank God, and he knew Neymar was blessed from that moment on. Which star's near-death experience sent shivers up your spine? I mean, they are lucky to have a second chance and utilize it like the hell out of it. And as fans, we're also lucky to see them on the field. But do you want to know more about your favorite soccer stars? Then don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications of our next video, which is going to stone you for real.